Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. It's the championship round in the NFL playoffs. We have 2 amazing games, 4 outstanding teams remaining in the NFL season. We have a 2-game slate on DraftKings. You can also tune in later this week. We're going to go over the single game showdowns for each game. I know that I didn't produce any content last week for it. I thought it was very straightforward. People said that they missed the content. They wanted a first look. So I'm going to give you a first look for this championship week slate. I'm just going to preface it by saying that the pricing is extremely friendly. You can basically play whoever it is that you want. So it's going to become more of a slate where it's not about playing the right or the wrong plays. It's more about painting the picture that you think that you believe is going to happen this weekend and riding those plays, because everybody is priced at a point where it's not absurd. It's not pick 'em, so to speak. Like, you can't just play everyone. You can't have like DAVANTE and Diggs and Kelsey and TYREEK, right? You can't, and whatever. You can't play all of those guys without sacrificing majorly somewhere, right? But you can get like 2 or 3 of them into pretty much any lineup that you want to build, and pretty reasonably and rationally, with values that are surrounding them that do project to play a lot of snaps and get a good amount of volume. So while it's not a full pick'em slate, it's very, very friendly. So we're going to do this for the 2-game slate. You can break every rule, right? So like, yeah, there's going to be correlation, but you're going to have some players that don't correlate. You're probably going to end up having a defense, because it's a 2-game slate, that's playing against some of the players that you're going to have in your lineups as well. You're shooting for as much upside as possible and a shooting floor. Because different from a regular slate, short slate football is a little bit different. So while in a 10 or 11 game slate, you can find somebody or a lot of players that have potential for getting you a 20 to a 30 point DraftKings day at running back or at wide receiver. There's way less options for that when you're playing in a 2-game slate. So you want to lock in as many guys that you think have the opportunity to have that high floor plus high ceiling, as well as give you guys that have the possibility of getting that 20 to 30 point game as value plays. So we're not going to completely just play players that are off the reservation, or that are going to play like 15% of snaps and hope that we catch lightning in a bottle. We're going to try and do our best to get this lineup filled out. Thank you guys for being here all season and still into the playoffs. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave a reply, join the Discord. Thank you too for watching the basketball videos. If you guys have been taking note, we have basketball videos being put out on this channel every single day, Monday through Friday, by Josh Lloyd from the Locked On Basketball podcast. I think he does a fantastic job of breaking down the slate for you the next day, identifying values and setting up your if-then statements, going game by game. So if you haven't checked those videos out and you're new to Daily Fantasy NBA, go check them out, as well as the How to Win on NBA DFS videos. But let's get to this first look, break it all down. So the first thing, we got quarterbacks. Let's take a look at the 500-pound elephant. I don't know if that's a baby elephant, right? 500-pound gorilla in the room. Patrick Mahomes left last game with a concussion. He's gonna play, right? We're gonna operate under the preface that he is going to play this weekend. Now, if he doesn't, obviously, then shift off of some of the things that we're going to say. But I'm saying that he's going to probably be back in this game. They think he's going to be okay. It turned out Monday morning, like, oh, it wasn't that bad. He's fine. He can, whatever. We had him in protocol. He's going to clear. Like, they're not going to, he's just going to clear. Let's just leave it there and then make our decisions from that. So here's the lines for the game. We have, the Buccaneers at Green Bay. That game opened at a 52 total and is now at a 51. Packers favored by 3.5. You've got the Bills and 2.5 point, opened as 2.5 point underdogs to the Chiefs. They are now a 3-point underdog to the Chiefs. And that total has gone up 3 points since open. So major reaction there. And the vast majority of the money going on the over in this game, as opposed to the vast majority of the money going on the under in this game. This page, for those of you who are wondering, is over at Fantasy Labs. It's a free page. Just go over to fantasylabs.com, click, or don't click, but just hover over NFL, scroll down here to Vegas. You can see the lines. They have this for NBA as well. Every other sport on top of that. So going back to the quarterbacks, the AFC is the young guns, including the unicorn, Josh Allen. The NFC is the old heads, who have less rushing upside but more efficiency floor and depend more on their passing touchdowns than giving you a floor with their rushing yards, although Tom Brady, still at the age of 76, is undefeated when it comes to quarterback sneaks. got another rushing touchdown last week. So we know that Tom Brady and the way that this offense runs, you know, this Bruce Arians offense, multiple touchdowns again every week since week 9. We do have the game that they played in week 6 where he put up 14 points and like Rojo ran all over. But right now, the past couple of weeks, it hasn't been the Rojo show. There are arguments to be made for double stacking with every single one of these quarterbacks. If you wanted to go for savings, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, fine. Green Bay has been a very tough matchup for opposing quarterbacks all season long. Aaron Rodgers has basically been outstanding in every game, except that one game against Tampa Bay. I would assume that angry Aaron Rodgers is the better Aaron Rodgers. The biggest motivator for his MVP season had to be them drafting Jordan Love in the first round this year. Could have gotten him, you know, T. Higgins, but whatever. They didn't do that. Didn't think it was important to, I don't know, help out when you're in the championship window, but it is what it is. I think personally that Josh Allen is the one that I wanted to go with in this spot. You could also pay up all the way, you know, to get to Patrick Mahomes, but he's like 10% more expensive than Josh Allen. Every one of these quarterbacks has the possibility of throwing for a 30-point game. I would say that Allen has the greatest probability of having that 30-plus point DraftKings day. Mahomes second, Rodgers third, then Brady. They are not priced in that order, and that's why I wanted to go with Josh Allen for the sake of this first look lineup. Looking at running backs, it seems to be another week that I don't think you need to play 3 running backs. That's what I've been saying in the wild card round and the divisional round. It stays that way for me here in this round. Now, we're going to have to monitor CEH's injury to see if he is going to play this weekend. If he is out, that leaves 2 running backs left for Kansas City that have any sort of value. 1, we have DARREL Williams. 2, we have LEVEON Bell. If you wanted to take a look at the things that I think are the most important, and it's not like it's a secret, but LEVEON Bell is playing like 1/3 of the snaps and getting 1/3 of the touches, as DARREL Williams is getting in the games where CEH sits. So DARREL Williams at 4,800, basically one of the running backs that I want to plug, assuming that CEH is out. If he's going to play this week and he's 200 more, they're basically priced at the same thing. Aaron Jones, the Buccaneers are extremely tough against opposing running backs. We've known this. They're an inside-out defense, and they've fixed their problems on the defensive backfield side of things. An anomaly, though, the Buccaneers are the only team left in the playoffs that had a top 10 season in terms of DVOA on defense. And I think they were 4th or 5th. I tweeted about this yesterday. Go check the tweet, but it's not important if they were 4th or 5th, but they're the only one left that was in the top 10 in the league in defensive DVOA. Every single team that's left is top 5 in the league. 4 of the top 5 teams in offensive DVOA are remaining. So maybe offense wins championships. I think that efficiency wins championships on either side of the ball. But that's neither here nor there. Now, when it comes down to Rojo versus Fournette, Rojo's had good volume, but no volume in the passing game. Fournette's had equally good volume, especially in each of the last 2 games and all of the pass game work. So he's getting the lion's share of the running back carries, as well as basically all of the running back touches when it comes to the passing game. So for me, especially against a team like Green Bay, who has struggled at stopping opponents' running backs from posting massive fantasy days, whether they win or whether they lose, and we can take a look at the Packers defense here. Even in the games that the Packers have won, we've seen them giving up a lot of points to opposing runners. 156 rushing yards, 115 against Carolina, 117 against Philly in a game that they won big. Chicago, you remember that first big game that David Montgomery had was against them. He scored multiple touchdowns in that game. It had 122 yards rushing, 140 in a loss here, 109 here. Not out of the realm of possibility to think that Leonard Fournette, even if you believe that Green Bay is going to win this game and at home, that they could bleed a ton of points at 5,300 to somebody like Leonard Fournette, who with his recent, and I mean last 2 weeks, it's a small sample, obviously, usage in the passing game gives him a really good floor. The other running back that is viable is Devin Singletary. This is a pass first offense, pass all the time offense. Singletary is the only running back left with Moss's injury, but is he going to get the volume? I think he comes in behind all of those other running backs for me, at least in terms of volume. But in terms of snaps, how many times he's going to be on the field, if he can vulture a touchdown away from Josh Allen, if Josh Allen isn't the guy that's going to do it, if you wanted to go the contrarian route and take Singletary, who I think is going to be extremely popular based on the amount of volume of snaps that he's going to get, I just think that these two running backs are a little bit better. And I think that it's a tight end or wide receiver in flex week, not a 3 running back week. Looking at the wide receivers, Davante Adams is really, really good. A bad week for Davante Adams. Last week, he scored 21.6 points. Tampa Bay is a tough defense against, but he is going to get his volume. Whether or not he can reach the 100-yard bonus, whether or not he can find his way into the end zone is another story, but you're going to have to pay up to get it at 7,800. As opposed to these two other wide receivers who are a little bit cheaper than him, getting very similar volume and are more downfield threats. Both Stefon Diggs, who's been outstanding. You guys know him as the American hero, and if you don't, you'll figure out why sooner rather than later. And Tyreek Hill, who's gone from just a deep threat to a high volume target, double-digit targets in all of these weeks. The second half of the season, well, week 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games since week 7 with double-digit targets. If you're getting that much activity in a Patrick Mahomes offense, with the ability to get behind a defense the way that Tyreek Hill has the ability to get behind a defense, and an underneath operator like Travis Kelce as well, it's impossible to defend this offense in its current iteration. And Buffalo, while they do have talented cornerbacks and they do have talented players on defense, again, not a team that has been very efficient defensively and has given up big plays on top of pretty much everything else. So this game, the more likely game to shoot out, as we said before, the higher total with the vast majority of the money being bet on the over. I want to get as much exposure to this particular game in my lineups as possible. Looking at value plays, LAZARD was the top value last week at 3,900. Got you a touchdown, 58-yarder. Got really good volume too. 8 targets, 19.6 DraftKings points. If you think that MECOLE HARDMAN is going to put on a show, fine. He's got to get into the end zone kind of to pay off this salary because he's not going to get a whole lot of volume as well. MVS, if he can get over the top with the amount of volume that he's been getting recently, 8 targets but only 7 points is strange for a wide receiver in full PPR. Gabe Davis, 4 targets, 0 receptions last week. If we have a situation where Antonio Brown possibly misses this game, he had an MRI this week. If he misses this game, Scotty Miller slides into a higher volume of snaps role. Not that he's a game-breaking play, or I'm projecting him as like the top value on the slate, but he is a better value if Antonio Brown vacates all of those targets that he has been getting recently. It's not like a mountain of targets he's been getting, but you open up snaps, it's easier to score points when you're not holding your helmet on the sideline. The one that I wanted to focus on here is John Brown. You guys know that I feel that when John Brown is playing opposite Steph Diggs, he is a fantastic player. Only at 4,300 here. Big value, good opportunity to 3x his salary, and one deep pass away from Josh Allen from basically having a 25-point fantasy day. So I'm getting floor, volume, and ceiling possibility from John Brown as a value play here. Looking at tight end, I want to have Kelce. I'm going to have to put him in the flex. I'm going to go with 2 tight ends in this lineup. If you wanted to go with Gronk, I get it. I think that Tonyan is the best value at the position, but mostly tied up. His upside is mostly tied up in his touchdown catching ability. So this is a leverage, kind of a hedge off of the fact that I don't have Davante Adams or any of the pass catching wide receivers. And I'm not playing Aaron Jones in this lineup. So having exposure to that Green Bay offense and saying that, well, the touchdowns, I don't feel are going to go to those guys, that they could go to Tonyan here. If you feel that they're going to go to LAZARD, play LAZARD, go with a different spot here. You can play LAZARD in the flex. You can squeeze Kelce up here. And that leaves us with 2,900 for defense. Defense, highly variant. You can go with the Bills. You can go with the Buccaneers. I'm going with the Buccaneers here because I have less exposure to that Green Bay offense, and the Buccaneers front seven can put a ton of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, as good as Aaron Rodgers is. Every quarterback is good this week. That's what makes this week special, and it's a whole lot of fun. Hopefully, you guys have some good luck this week and go check out the NBA content. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.